Hello, my name is Michael Panamero, Senior Vice President of Pivot Financial and President of the Finance Institute. Welcome to your gateway to the lucrative $136 billion factoring industry. Now, before I tell you a little bit about me and how I got here, I wanted to let you know that I believe this may be the most important presentation that you have ever watched when it comes to making a significant change to your financial future. Over the next 30 minutes or so, I am going to share some of the best content and valuable information that you're ever going to get about this lucrative multi-billion-dollar industry that keeps growing every year. Soon you will discover that today represents the single best time in the history of factoring to be working in this dynamic industry. And you could already be sitting on a gold mine by quickly learning how to leverage your professional skills, your experience, and business contacts. My organization's core mission is to make the daunting task of finding more immediate cash flow easier for businesses across North America when traditional bank financing is not an option. We continue to deliver on this mission by recruiting, training, and supporting an elite network of business consultants across Canada and the United States. So with that said, what results do you want to take away from this industry overview? What results do I want to take away from this industry overview? Because in the end, isn't this about the results? I believe you're here to do a little investigating, to find out what can the factoring industry do for you? What can my organization do for you? What can I do for you that can help you get you closer to your results? I am here because I'm looking for a few solid professionals that my organization can train and support to continue to help us deliver on our core company mission. And that is what this industry overview is all about, getting all of us closer to our results. So please take good notes if you have any questions. Write them down because after the session is over, you will have the opportunity to schedule a follow-up call with me to answer any questions that you may have and discuss next steps. So to tell you a little bit about me and how I got here, my journey in the factoring industry started back in 1999. I was a marketing manager. It was on a Friday, and I was at work. I was called into the office and was told, "Michael, we no longer need you to come into work on Monday because we're making budget cuts. Here's your severance pay. Find a lawyer if you don't think it's enough. You have 3 minutes to clean out your desk, and we wish you all the best." I remember being escorted, leaving the office and sitting in my car in the parking lot, overcome with emotion, humiliated. I was extremely upset. My mind was racing about what am I going to do now? Absolutely feeling sick inside and disgraced knowing that I now had to go home and tell my wife that I had just lost my job. We had recently celebrated our first anniversary and we were moving into a new home. You know, I felt so used, taken advantage of. After putting in all that hard work over all those years, I thought I was doing a great job only to have the entire rug pulled out from under me. I remember everyone telling me, "Michael, a job is not for life. There are no guarantees. It's part of the process." But you know, you never think that losing your job could ever happen to you. Now, why am I telling you this? Because you may be a professional that finds yourself in transition, seeking that perfect opportunity, that perfect job. And if you're a lot like me, I didn't have a plan B that I could fall back on. Or maybe your life is already great and you believe you'll continue doing great. You're relatively comfortable and I get it. You don't really have to make a change, but you're here because you just want something more. You understand there are no guarantees and that's smart. And if you're a lot like me, you've probably been exposed to all kinds of opportunities. And one day back in 1999, I found myself in transition with no plan B. I discovered an opportunity that made a lot of common sense to me, an opportunity that was going to teach me how to broker mortgage notes and business invoices for cash. Finally, I had found a real opportunity, a real industry that made perfect sense to me, because let's think about this for a second. Don't a lot of people carry mortgages? And doesn't every business create an invoice when they sell something to another business? Well, I know the company that I sold for sure did. So it was at that time that I decided to make a change. And I invested $8,000 to attend the training to learn how to do this. Now don't worry, you won't be risking 1 red cent of your own capital, because our organization provides the training and the support if you qualify. So after my training, I hit the road running, and I started to expose and educate my former customers and business contacts about the concept of factoring, and I was paid a substantial monthly commission by financial institutions to bring leads to them. In a very short period of time, I was awarded membership into the $1 Million Club for this industry, and due to my success, I was approached by a company out of the United States to open up their Canadian operations in 2001. This led to me traveling all across North America as a visiting instructor and a guest speaker for some of the major training organizations in this industry, educating and coaching thousands of business professionals on how to work and succeed in the factoring industry. In 2008, I founded the Finance Institute that has grown into the premier lead generator for Pivot Financial. During this industry overview, you will learn 3 things. 1, you will learn why now is the single best time in history to be taking part in this lucrative $136 billion industry. 2, you will learn how you can quickly leverage your professional skills and business contacts to earn a substantial long-term income. And 3, you will learn how to gain the knowledge and the confidence to find your first transaction immediately after this overview is over. So just pick up any newspaper or read any online publication, and you will discover article after article, post after post, comment after comment, addressing the fact that banks are still not lending to businesses across the country. And what is more shocking is that business bank loan application decline rates are reaching epidemic proportions. Just take a look at this article published in the Business News Daily. The title, 6 Factors That Keep You from Getting a Small Business Loan. Topping the chart as the #1 reason, poor cash flow. A recent study by the Credit Research Foundation reveals even more shocking facts, that 82% of all businesses are reporting poor cash flow. The report goes on to read that 92% of new businesses will fail in their first year due to the lack of available working capital, and 100% of all businesses will struggle from slow or no cash flow during their existence. These companies cite the lack of available working capital, the tightening of cash flow, and the slowdown in customer payments as the 3 major issues that are having disastrous effects on the viability of their businesses. So what is factoring? Why is it important to business? And why is it important to you? Companies large and small across this country every single day are delivering products or rendering services. In order to be competitive, they can't always insist their customers pay a COD, cash on delivery. So in addition to providing the product or rendering the service, they issue an invoice. Now I'm sure you know what an invoice looks like, but let me bring your attention to an important section of this invoice indicated by this little green box right here called terms. Typical terms in business, typical terms issued by vendors to their customers for early payment of their invoice is 2% 10, net 30 days. What does that mean? Well, if a customer pays for the invoice within 10 days of receiving the invoice, the vendor will discount the invoice by 2%, or the customer will receive a 2% discount off the total value of the invoice. If the customer pays for their invoice after 10 days and before 30 days, the customer is required to pay for the invoice in full. By listing terms on the invoice qualifies the invoice as a legal document or a short-term note. Please write that down and remember that. So in addition to providing the product or rendering the service, the vendors issue an invoice, and this invoice now becomes an accounts receivable. And now they wait. What are they waiting for? Well, they're waiting to get paid. They're waiting to get paid 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and even longer. Did you know that the national average for customers to pay for their invoices across this country is a staggering 73 days? And did you know that it is estimated that small businesses across North America carry over $825 billion of invoices at any given time? Here's another fact. The average small business across North America invoices between $100,000 and $500,000 each and every month and now waits to get paid. While these companies are waiting to get paid, other orders are coming in. While these companies are waiting to get paid, they have to find ways to fill the new orders, to pay their employees, to pay their suppliers, to pay their rent, their utilities, and taxes. And this vicious cycle continues to happen every single day to small, medium, and large businesses across the country. So let me ask you, if the banks aren't lending and customers are always paying late, where does a business go to get the money it needs on a daily basis to thrive? Small to mid-sized businesses that need the cash to thrive are turning to factoring to sell some or all of their accounts receivable to get the money that they need fast. Just take a look at these numbers. At a time when many industries have been floundering, the factoring industry has been experiencing explosive growth, and this industry continues to grow every year. And all indicators continue to point to the fact that we can expect much of the same for the unforeseen future, because this type of financing is recession-proof. When the economy is strong, companies will use factoring to fund the growth, because banks don't like it when a business grows too quickly. When the economy is weak, companies will use factoring to survive, to meet their fixed costs, payroll, etc. So what is factoring? How does it work? And how can you begin to work and profit from it immediately after this overview? Well, the actual definition of factoring goes something like this. Factoring is the purchase of business-to-business or business-to-government accounts receivable which are current or outstanding invoices for goods or services that have been rendered in the past for a discount fee. Let me repeat that for you. Factoring is the purchase of business-to-business or business-to-government accounts receivable which are current or outstanding invoices for goods or services that have been rendered in the past for a discount fee. Factoring is not a loan, no interest is charged, and it's similar to a cash discount. Remember the standard payment terms of 2% 10 net 30 days that we just talked about for early payment. So how does it work? Well, there's two key disbursements associated with a factoring transaction. The first key disbursement is called an advance, and the second key disbursement is called a reserve. The advance takes place when the vendor, the client, receives up to 95% of the face value of the invoice when the invoice is purchased by the factor, or in this case, Pivot Financial. The reserve is when the client, the vendor, receives the balance once the invoice or the customer has paid for the invoice in full, less the discount fee charged by the factor. Okay, to illustrate how this simple concept works, I have prepared this example for you. So let's say for the purposes of this example, the vendor, the client, had an invoice of $100,000. And let's say we determined that the advance rate was going to be 90%. 90% times $100,000 equals an advance of $90,000. When you subtract $90,000 away from $100,000, you're left with $10,000 or 10%, and that is called the reserve. The vendor, the client, will receive this $10,000 back once the customer pays for the invoice in full, less the discount fee that we charge. Okay, so how do factors make money? So how does Pivot Financial generate revenue? Remember, Pivot Financial is not a bank. Factoring is not a loan. Therefore, there is no interest charged. Factoring is the buying of an invoice at a discount. Banks make their credit decisions based on the financial strength, the financial wherewithal of the business and the business owners, how long the company has been in business, if the company is profitable, and what assets can be used as security. Pivot Financial isn't concerned about any of that. We make our credit decisions based on two things: the credit worthiness of the customer, so who is paying the invoice, and the length of time it takes for the customer to pay for the invoice. We accelerate working capital into a company and earn discount fees for doing that. There are over 55 million small to mid-sized businesses across North America, but less than 10% utilize factoring because it is a fact. Most people and businesses have never heard about factoring before and the many benefits of using it in their business. So is the factoring industry saturated across North America? Well, on the contrary, did you know that in the UK, the United Kingdom alone, over 75% of all businesses factor? Across Europe, over 54% of all businesses factor, and these numbers continue to grow. Can you now see why today continues to represent the single best time in history to be working in this lucrative industry? Providing alternative working capital solutions to small and mid-sized businesses is becoming the hottest professional consultant opportunity of this decade. And although you may have never heard about this career before, Yahoo Hot Jobs recently voted factoring among their top hottest professions, as reported by Joy Victory of Payscale.com. Now, to save time, I'm not going to read this entire post, but to sum it up for you this way: there has never been a better time than right now to be working in this industry. So ask yourself this question: how many businesses do you know that provide a product or service to another business or the government? Now ask yourself, how many of those businesses do you think are getting paid in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and even longer? The answer is all of them. All of them. Every accounts receivable department in those businesses is pounding the phones every single day, chasing their money, chasing their customers to pay faster so they can have the money to make their payroll, pay their suppliers on time, pay their fixed costs, taxes, etc. Soon you will be given the opportunity to quickly learn how to expose and educate these businesses about the concept of factoring. Okay, so in our industry, our practitioners are called business consultants or cash flow consultants. In our organization, we work as a team, and we succeed as a team by following a simple blueprint called the FEAS process. The FEAS process stands for find, expose, educate, and support. As the business consultant, the cash flow consultant, your role is very simple. Find a company that has customers that are always paying late. Expose the company to the concept of factoring. Educate the company about the many benefits of factoring, and then you ask that company to complete a short client profile. You send this information to one of our file managers and you step aside, because we will provide all of the support to intercept, structure, implement the facility, and manage the file on a daily basis. When it comes to finding a company, there are over 40 industries that are inherently attracted to factoring. We are not short on prospects and have a captive audience because the banks aren't lending. Leads is not our issue. The most successful business consultants do what I did when I got started. They focus in on their business contacts list first, no matter how small or large that list would be. You don't know who your contacts know or who they could lead you to. Your former customers, your present customers, your future customers. Your goal is to find just one company, just one. Then we will teach you how to leverage that company to immediately go find more prospects. There is no reason why you can't be doing this within a few days of watching this overview with the proper information and training. So how is a business consultant or a cash flow consultant compensated? I think you're really going to like this plan because it's possible for you to earn anywhere between $50,000 to $250,000 per year by simply helping us find companies that have customers that are always paying late and need money to thrive. This plan works exceedingly well with professionals that are in transition. It works exceedingly well with working business professionals that are currently seeking to start a new career part-time without sacrificing the security of their present job, because you can set your own hours and you can work from a virtual home office environment. In the past, one of the major barriers to entry for people to get involved in this industry was the cost. Back in 1999, I invested $8,000 to learn about factoring, and fast track to today, there are others charging $25,000 for information and $150,000 for franchises. One of the ways I choose to give back is giving professionals like you the opportunity to quickly learn this new lifelong skill without breaking your bank account. A matter of fact, you're not going to be asked to invest 1 red cent of your own capital. The Finance Institute has been training professionals since 2008, and we have grown into the premier training and support organization on this planet to the factoring industry. Now, why would I offer to quickly train and support you versus profiting from selling information and training? Because deal flow is what this is all about, and you'll quickly discover there is a substantial amount of money to be earned from helping businesses solve their working capital issues. We don't know who you know or who you could lead us to. Deal flow lead generation is what this is all about, and we're here to support you to find it. When I said in the beginning of this overview that this may be the most important presentation that you have ever watched when it comes to making a change in your financial future, if you understand what this is, how big this is, and the opportunity that is being extended to you, you can do very well, very fast. And depending on the type of company that you find, you can get paid a substantial income each month for 18 months, 36 months, 5 years, and even longer by following the feast principle. As our business consultant or cash flow consultant, you can get paid a big chunk of the discount fees because we will pay you up to 15% on the gross factoring fees that we charge. Notice I did not say net. I said gross before any expenses are taken off the top. A partnership of the highest order, because if you were truly our partner, you would get paid 15% of the net and most likely have to invest into the business like a franchise. So what does this compensation plan mean? It means long-term monthly residual income for people that are serious in making a change. It means creating a plan B, working for themselves. It means working once and getting paid over and over again. This is not real estate where you get paid a one-time small fee for each house that you sell. This is about planting a seed once and then farming it over and over again. So how much money can you earn? Well, quite frankly, the numbers will surprise you when I show them to you in a minute. I always remind our business consultants, our cash flow consultants, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it. If you aim at nothing, you will hit it. So before I reveal the real numbers, let's set your first goal, a measurable goal, a target, if you will. I want you to take a few seconds and I want you to write down your answer to the following question. How much money would you need to earn per month to make a significant difference in your life right now? How much money would you need to earn per month to make a significant difference in your life right now? I want you to be realistic and I want you to write that number down. I'm going to pause for about 10 seconds to let you do that, but when I return, I'm going to share 2 real-life case studies with you. I think this will help bring some reality to the type of income you can quickly generate. Be back with you in 10 seconds. Okay, so let me introduce you to Synchromesh. Synchromesh is a small industrial fertilizer manufacturing company with monthly sales of $98,000. Synchromesh was recently awarded a large contract from a new industrial customer to supply a truckload of industrial fertilizer each month for the next 12 months. The total value of the purchase order each month is $88,500, almost double that of Synchromesh's current sales. Now, in order to bid on the contract to be competitive, Synchromesh negotiated early payment supplier discounts with their suppliers and received special pricing on the raw materials. The special pricing was awarded under the stipulation that Synchromesh pay their suppliers in 15 days. The industrial customer ended up paying for the first order in 60 days. When Synchromesh approached their customer to see if they could get paid earlier on all future orders, the customer said they would prefer to pay in 60 days. The issue, Synchromesh must now be in a position to pay their suppliers in 15 days on all future orders, even though their new customer pays in 60 days. So what is Synchromesh to do now? Well, they will have to find another way to raise the cash to pay their suppliers early, or they will have to turn down the rest of the contract because there's no profit in the transaction if they can't receive the supplier discounts. And what's worse, they will probably lose this new customer altogether and any new orders in the future. So Synchromesh went to the bank, but they were declined for financing due to two reasons. One, the bank thought they were growing too quickly, and two, the company was only 2 years old and didn't have enough financial history to qualify for bank financing. This deal was referred to us by someone like you, a business consultant, a cash flow consultant, and the transaction that was structured went on to look something like this. Purchase order value each month from new industrial customer, $88,500. Factor ended up advancing 85% for a total of $75,225, more than enough money to pay the suppliers. The factor charged a discount fee of just 2.5% for every 30 days the invoice was outstanding. And this customer paid their invoice in how many days? 60 days. So 2.5% for the first 30 days plus 2.5% for the next 30 days equals 5%. 5% times $88,500 equals monthly factoring fees of $4,425. If you were the business consultant, the cash flow consultant that introduced this deal to us, how much would you receive? 15%. 15% times $4,424 equals $663.75 each month. What could you do with an extra $663 coming into your household each month? In this industry, we call these small deals. Well, guess what happened in this deal? Synchromesh realized that every time they created an invoice, they could factor it and receive immediate working capital to run their business. So they went on to factor all of their receivables, their current sales of $98,000, plus this purchase order each month of $88,000 from the new customer, for a total of $186,500 each month. And guess what happened to the cash flow consultant or the business consultant's commission? It grew to almost $1,400 each month. Do you know how long some people have to work to get paid $1,400? Okay, let me introduce you to Healthcare Nurse Staffing. Healthcare Nurse Staffing is a temporary staffing agency that provides nurses and other healthcare providers to hospitals, labs, nursing homes, retirement homes, etc. Healthcare Nurse Staffing recently secured a contract to provide 50 nurses to a local healthcare organization. The nurse staffing company would pay their nurses $28 per hour, and the nurses would work a 40-hour work week. The nurse staffing company would then turn around and invoice the hospital at $36 per hour for each 40-hour work week per nurse. The healthcare organization pays their invoices in 60 days. The issue, the nurse staffing company must now be in a position to fund biweekly payroll, pay their nurses every 2 weeks to perform on this contract. So the payroll looks something like this. $28, which is the hourly wage per nurse, times 50, the number of nurses, times 40, the hours per week for each nurse, times 8, the number of weeks it takes the healthcare organization to pay, equals $448,000. The invoicing looks something like this. $36, the hourly wage per nurse, times 50, the number of nurses, times 40, the hours per week for each nurse, times 8, the number of weeks it takes the healthcare organization to pay, $576,000. Well, healthcare nurse staffing didn't have this type of money, nor did she know where she was going to go to get this type of money to make her payroll. So she went to the bank. But she was declined because they didn't have any hard assets to pledge as security to obtain the loan. Just think about this for a second. What could they pledge as security? They rent the office space, and when you walk in through the front door of the office, you would see a small reception area. You walk down the hall to the right, a small kitchen with a microwave, a small refrigerator. To the left, you'd see a few desks with computers, a phone system, and a few pictures on the wall. The only inventory they have is people, nurses. You can't pledge human as security to the bank. So what was she to do now? Remembering that she was recently exposed to the concept of factoring by a business consultant, a cash flow consultant, she contacted that individual. And the transaction that was structured went on to look something like this. Total value of the contract, $576,000. The factor ended up advancing 90%, for a total of $518,400, more than enough money to pay the nurses' wages in the amount of $448,000. The factor charged a discount fee of just 2% for every 30 days the invoice was outstanding, and the healthcare organization paid their invoices in how many days? 60 days. So 2% for the first 30 days plus 2% for the next 30 days equals 4%. 4% times $576,000 equals factoring fees of $23,040. If you were the business consultant, the cash flow consultant that introduced this deal to us, how much would you receive? 15%. 15% times $23,040 equals residual monthly income of $3,456 each month. Imagine what it would feel like to have an extra $3,456 coming into your household starting each month right now. In this industry, we call these bigger size deals. Now, before you even ask, the average size deal that we see coming in is approximately $175,000 per month in receivables to be purchased. How many deals are you going to need to find to reach your financial goal? I bet you it's not as many as you thought, huh? And this is why we offer this compensation plan, because it creates tremendous reach for our organization, because we don't know who you know or who you could lead us to. For the people that understand what this is and how big this is, they do very well. Investing the time to learn this new lifelong skill, creating an insurance plan that no one can ever take away from you. So let me ask you this question. With some more practical information, training, and our unparalleled support to intercept, structure, fund, and manage all your deals, do you think that you could find just one company that could benefit from factoring? Just one. If you said yes, here's what I want you to do. Let's schedule a call to answer any questions that you may have and discuss next steps. To schedule that call, I want you to copy this link down. www.thetfi.com/Mike. That's www.thetfi.com/Mike. And when you arrive to that page, just choose your time and click Submit. This concludes the Industry Corporate Overview. I hope you got some extreme value out of the information I just shared with you, and you enjoyed receiving this information as much as I did presenting it to you. If you're like me, only a few great opportunities will land on your doorstep. Don't be like a lot of people who ignore these opportunities because they don't recognize them out of ignorance or fear because they're new to you. Today represents the single best time in history to be working in this industry, and it will continue to be that way for the unforeseen future. The banks aren't lending and customers are always paying late. Here is your opportunity to quickly learn to leverage your professional skills and business contacts. You'll be extremely happy that you did. Thank you again for watching. Until I speak with you again, bye for now.